all this time that you're worried about being just enough, right? That you are literally just setting yourself up to be the bare minimum, to be the bottom requirement, to have like just enough that you're it. And I really want you to think about what I'm saying because there's a huge difference in being just enough and being fucking extraordinary. There's a big difference in being enough and being fully expressed. There's a difference in being enough for something and being unapologetic in your essence, in your expression. Can you just feel the difference in that when you're setting yourself up to try to be enough versus being fully expressed, embodied, and just unapologetic in your essence? And welcome back to the Shadow Priestess Embodied. I'm your host, Kaylin Rakowski, and thank you for joining me today for another deep dive and exploration into your inner world, into your body, the shadow realms, where we will begin to explore some of these esoteric principles and really begin to drop them down into modern day application and embodiment. This is a sacred place where you can begin to truly meet yourself, meet your medicine, and to meet your magic. This is a place of remembrance. Take a deep breath and let's begin. Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome back for another episode. So, last night I'm laying in bed and I cannot sleep because I just have this download that is coming in and I'm sitting with it and I'm just contemplating with it. And I woke up this morning and it's still heavy on my heart. So I'm like, you know what? Let's go on, press record, and I'm just going to stream to you what I'm sitting with and what I'm kind of contemplating. So, first, let me just say that recently I have felt this energetic shift, and I talk about it in the previous episode where I feel like it's almost like this breath of fresh air, like the initiation is over and it's like the storm has passed and it's like we're in that like in between, we're in that waiting room before the sun comes out or before the manifestation happens. And I've just been making so many incredible connections with some of my listeners, with new people online, people in my community. And I've just been receiving such amazing feedback about my podcast, about my work, about my offerings, just who I am in the world. And it's honestly just, it's so flattering. And I'm in such deep gratitude sitting with it. And what is really sparking this conversation is that I'm going to be really raw and vulnerable with you guys, is that for so much of my life, I felt like I wasn't good enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't interesting enough. I wasn't talented enough. Like, insert blank. I'm sure so many of you can relate to this feeling of never feeling like you're enough. And the download I was receiving last night was that, you thinking you're good enough or you believing you're not good enough really doesn't fucking matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. And if you're waiting to feel ready or to feel good enough or to feel validated, then it's always going to be this shiny object, right? It's always going to be this thing that you're chasing, but you never catch because truthfully, it's all relative, right? Like, who really gets to decide what is good enough? Who is good enough, right? And what I was sitting with last night is that if I would have waited till I felt good enough or I felt talented enough or insert whatever you want to insert here, right? That I wouldn't be showing up here today. I wouldn't be having these conversations. I wouldn't be working with incredible clients that I work with. And all the times that you sit feeling like you're not good enough or you're not ready, you're really doing a disservice. And not only to yourself, but to all the amazing souls that you have contracts with, that you have agreements with to show up and support them, to transform them, to be a catalyst for them. 222 as I'm saying that. Um, and it really just had me like, I could not sleep last night, you guys. Like, truthfully, I could not sleep. I'm like, wow, you know, if so many more people leaned into this not feeling enough or this enoughness wound or this worthiness wound, how much of their actual potential expression and essence that they would actually have access to. And the second part of this like download is that I was sitting in is that it's so funny that so many, and I will say especially in feminine essence beings, like we set ourselves up for just enough, just the bare minimum, just trying to get by, the bare requirements, not where we're thriving, not where we're winning, not where we're even touching or tapping into desire, but literally just being in survival and the bare minimum. And when I was sitting in this download, what I realized is that all this time that you're worried about being just enough, right? That you are literally just setting yourself up to be the bare minimum, to be the bottom requirement, to have like just enough that you're it. And I really want you to think about what I'm saying because there's a huge difference in being just enough and being fucking extraordinary. There's a big difference in being enough and being fully expressed. There's a difference in being enough for something and being unapologetic in your essence, in your expression. Can you just feel the difference in that? When you're setting yourself up to try to be enough versus being fully expressed, embodied, and just unapologetic in your essence. And I feel that so many times when we are approaching our businesses, our relationships, our families, like whatever it is, this literally applies to everything. When you are approaching it with, like, how do I make this just enough? Or how do I be just enough for this? You are setting yourself up for some mediocre shit. Like, that's kinda harsh, but you are setting yourself up for some mediocre shit, a mediocre life, a mediocre love, like, you are missing, like, the juice that is available to you, and what would be different in your life if instead of trying to just get by or just have enough or just scratching the surface, you started leaning into being just fully expressed. Because something that I have really leaned into and have learned to embody that soul truth is the most potent, loudest frequency on the planet. There is nothing stronger in the field, in the quantum, than truth. And what if instead of trying to be enough, we just started to embody like pure, authentic expression? And what would be different if we gave ourselves permission to be unique? I feel that so much of the enoughness is really coming from an underline of almost comparison, right? Or it almost boxes you and puts you in these constructs that there's only one way to do it. And this is the way you should do it, right? It's just copy and pasting, washed out paradigms, identities, roles, ways of being over and over again to just being enough and just perpetuate the survival and perpetuate this sense of sameness or, what society deems, acceptable or the norm. And if you're here in my world, baby, you're not here to blend in. You're not here to be with the norm. You are here to stand out. You are here to be a disruptor, to be a change maker, to be a blueprint changer. And if you keep trying to approach your life by how do I become just enough or how do I approach this to be enough, you are going to literally miss the sauce, the juice, the medicine that is you. You are going to miss the majesty that happens when you step out of the safety of sameness, of enoughness, and really meet your potential and really come face to face with the magic, the expression that is just clawing its way, begging to come out. And how many of you can relate to what I'm saying, right? What are the ways that you feel like you're not enough? Like if you're really to sit here today and think about like what are those stories? What are those experiences, what are those ways that you set yourself up where you fail or you're not enough? And it's usually coming from an element of comparison, right? Or when you are literally trying to be in competition with somebody else. Because whenever I'm looking at somebody else and they're embodied in their essence or their magic or whatever it is, and I'm trying to be like them, I'm always going to fucking lose. You're always going to fucking lose, because the whole thing here is that you are here to be a unique expression of divinity, right? You are literally one of one. There is nobody in existence that is like you or will ever be like you. The unique set of energetic mechanics is completely unique to you. Okay. And where so many of us trip up, or where so many of us fall short or never tap into the full capacity or potency of our mission, of our soul, of our expression, of our artistry, is when we're in this lens of like trying to be safe and trying to be enough, right? Again, it's like we're just trying to get to that bare minimum. We're on the floor when really your soul is like exploding through the ceiling with what is really there, with what is possible, with your potential, and what your unique soul, your unique energetic mechanics actually has access to. Okay. And I know for me, so much of overcoming this enoughness was really owning the parts of me that I felt like were too much. Okay. That wild part of me, that erotic part of me, that esoteric, that woo woo part of me, all the parts of me for so many years of my life that I tried to dim down, that I tried to suppress, that I tried to hide because I felt like they were too much. And then that made me show up in jobs, relationships, identities where I essentially was trying to put on these templates. I was trying to put on this coding. I was trying to put on these ways of being that weren't authentic to my system. And because they weren't authentic templates, I kept feeling like I was coming up short, that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't like her, and I wasn't like that. And let me just try, let me just try. And it's like I wasted so many years and so much of my gifting and so much of my medicine trying to dilute it to be enough to fit somebody else's standards, to fit somebody else's idea of what it means to be successful, of what it means to be powerful, of what it means to be a woman, of what it means to be a daughter, a lover. Like, think about in your life how much of your life that you're showing up in an identity, in a role that truly doesn't feel good to you, that doesn't light you up. And think about those deep burning desires, those primal pulls that you feel in your body, who you are when nobody is watching, that part of you that you're so terrified of the world to see, right? Like, that is your soul. That is your expression. That is the most authentic, sacred part of who you are. And by hiding that piece of you away, you are literally betraying yourself and you're doing the collective a disservice, right? I know I said that at the beginning, but it's so true. You have to realize that, like, we are all here co creating this reality together, and that we all hold different pieces and doors and just like these like catalytic experiences for one another, that we each have a unique essence and medicine and magic to share with the tribe. But it's like, if the chief was so busy trying to be the warrior, who would lead the people? And if the warrior was so busy trying to be the chief, or, trying to weave baskets, who would protect the tribe? Right? So I know this is kind of a different example, but like what I'm trying to get at is that each of us came here with a role to play. And I won't even say role. Let me backtrack. Each of us came here with a unique expression, right? With a unique frequency. We each have a unique spark of divinity within us. And the whole reason that we're here is to co create and to birth that and bring that out into this collective, into Gaia, right? And as we do that, it literally creates this beautiful synergistic environment for everyone, okay? So this whole idea of scarcity, of survival, of not enoughness, of worthiness, like it's honestly all bullshit. And it's a way that it keeps people disconnected from God, disconnected from their power, and disconnected from the divinity within. And as we begin to lean into the discomfort of being too much or not being enough, we actually create the room and the space to fully meet ourselves and to meet our medicine and to really discover what we are truly capable of. It's a nuanced kind of thing because I'm the firm belief that you came here with a soul codex. You came here literally energetically equipped with everything that you need to fulfill your purpose, your gifts, your magic, your mission. Like everything exists within the body, everything exists within your energetic aura, the Ka body. Like you have everything that you need. And there's parts of your gifts, that's parts of your genius that become activated by being in communion with others, right? Like for me, I had no idea how deep of capacity or love that I have for being of service until I started doing deep healing work with people, before I started, coaching people. I always knew that I was contracted to serve God and to serve the Rose line, but I had no idea the level of capacity that I had for depth, intimacy and service until I started taking those unique gifts and that unique expression and started working it with my clients or sharing it with the world. So the whole reason I wanted to pop on, why this was still fresh on my heart and, fresh like as I'm sitting in the download, is that you are enough now. There is absolutely nothing in the world that you have to do to get ready to be enough. And as you begin to have the courage to share your beautiful heart, to share your gifts, to share like your raw, authentic expression with the world, more of your mission will become unlocked. And you get to step into this beautiful co-creation or dance with the universe where you are truly spirit led, where it's like by you leaning in and by you showing up now, it's like more is revealed and more, breadcrumbs are given to you to follow and to deepen into your path. But you're doing yourself and you're doing the world a huge disservice by hiding your magic, by comparing it to other people, by constantly feeling like you're not enough. And if you're somebody who is struggling with this now, I really want you to take a minute and to drop out of your head and get into your heart and get into your body. And instead of trying to be enough, what would it look like to be expressed? What would it look like to stand in truth? What would it look like to allow more of your essence to come online? What would it look like to start bringing all of you to your life? Because I promise you, it's when you can begin bringing all of you to your life, the messy parts, the parts that you're ashamed of, the parts that you think are too much. That's when you are truly going to start unlocking the full potential and the full potency and the full capacity of your mission, of your essence, and when you will truly have the opportunity to come face to face with your soul. There's nothing that you have to do to be enough or to become ready. You were born ready. You were born enough, and you're worthy now. You've got work to do. If you're a woman who struggles with worthiness, with feeling enough, and really allowing yourself to be seen, this is literally my sweet spot and where I love to guide my clients through to help women redefine their relationship with their power, with their magic, and truly begin to live a life that is in alignment, that is fully expressed in their essence, and really which leads you to liberation, prosperity, and to deepen into your purpose. I recently have opened a few select spaces for one-on-one deep feminine mentorship and will be reopening the doors to my group mastermind emergence. Click the link in the bio to apply. I can't wait to connect.